The night of the 2016 election was the worst night of Hillary Clinton's life. Everything that she spent many years working towards went down in flames. But now Hillary just got some news that is even worse than the results of the 2016 election. Besides her political aspirations, Hillary doesn't have much going for her. Her family life is a mess, with reports stating that she and Bill haven't talked in months. Her book has become a laughingstock, forcing her to host book signings next to the dairy section in grocery stores. And to top it off, new polls show there is no way she could ever return to elected office. A newly released Gallup poll shows that Hillary's approval rating has fallen to a record low. Her approval rating now stands at 36%, which is 5 points lower than she was at just a few months ago in April. At the same time, her disapproval rating has soared to 61%, which is a new high for her. As reported by Breitbart, the approval rating of former Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton has fallen to a record low, according to the latest Gallup poll. Clinton's approval rating now stands at 36%, a 5% fall from April, while her disapproval rating has soared to a new high of 61%, bucking the trend of presidential candidates gaining popularity after losing an election. Following elections, failed presidential candidates generally gain popularity. But it seems that Hillary is so toxic that her approval ratings only get worse and worse. Her plummeting approval rating could be because of a lot of things. It could be because of Hillary being implicated in the Uranium One scandal, which created a huge amount of buzz. It could also have to do with information coming out that Hillary Clinton and the DNC were extremely unfair to Bernie Sanders as he was running, or that she and the DNC funded the now infamous Trump-Russia dossier. Her major drop in popularity could be because of any number of factors, and Hillary isn't the only Clinton that is facing extremely low approval ratings. Hillary's husband Bill is also facing his lowest approval rating since he left office. His drop in approval rating has to do with fresh new allegations of sexual assault from 4 women, who all claim that they were assaulted after Clinton left the White House. Again reported by Breitbart, the former First Lady's husband, Bill Clinton, has also seen his approval rating fall 45% to its lowest level since he left office, after recently facing fresh allegations of sexual assault from 4 women, who claim the incidents occurred after Clinton left the White House in 2001. While the Clintons are having issues with their approval ratings, President Trump is doing better by the day. His approval rating has been soaring in recent days due to increased consumer confidence and record stock market highs. Why do you think Hillary's approval rating is plummeting? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section.
But this has been a year of extraordinary accomplishment for the Trump administration.
This president hasn't even been in office for a year. And look at all the things that he's been able to get done.
This is a big day for America. This is America's comeback.
He's got one of the best records of conservative accomplishment in his first 11 months in office of any president in American history, including, quite frankly, Ronald Reagan.
What I find fascinating about this part in our political process over the last decade or so is that usually it's Republicans praising their president and Democrats praising their president. But guys like Mark Thiessen, who were originally pretty critical of President Trump, he's called balls and strikes here. I mean, he was not saying that 9 months ago. And he's seeing what's going on.
Dan Bongino is joining us right now from down in Florida. He's a former New York City cop, a former Secret Service guy, and he hosts the Dan Bongino Show. Hey, Dan, remember, to Brian's point, remember in the beginning of this administration when so many people in the mainstream media and pundits were saying, hey, Republicans, whatever you do, don't work with this president because he's box office poison.
Right. You know, Steve, no reasonable person, and I'm caveating this with reasonable here, right, at this point can deny these two things. This has been a deeply, deeply consequential first-year presidency, and it has been an extremely conservative one. There's no denying that anymore. Red tape getting wiped out. ISIS getting their butts kicked all over the place. Americans getting a tax cut. Businesses coming back to the United States even yesterday after the tax cut. It hasn't even been signed yet by the president. This has been an incredibly impactful first year, and denying it at this point, you're talking out of your back end, not your front end.
So let's talk about back end. Listen to this Huffington Post clown on Twitter. It says this about Senator Tim Scott, who was front and center. I don't know if you had a chance to meet him. We have. And he's one of the most impressive, respected people, Republican or Democrat, period. And I'm glad his profile is raised. And there's a reason why it was raised yesterday, because he plays such a prominent role in getting this passed and explaining what tax reform means to the average American person. So this guy, Andy Ostroy, tweeted this out. What a shocker. There's one black person there, and sure enough, they have him standing right next to the mic like a manipulated prop. Way to go, Tim Scott. Trump, hashtag tax scam bill.
But hold on, before you respond, Dan, that guy did take it down and he did apologize. But Senator Tim Scott's response back to him was awesome. He said, exactly. He said, probably because I helped write the bill for the past year, have multiple provisions included, got multiple senators on board over the last week, and have worked on tax reform my entire time in Congress. But if you'd rather see my skin color, please feel free. Your response.
You know, Ainsley, I don't accept this guy's apology. Tim Scott's free to, of course. He's maybe a better man than I am. Well, he is a better man than I am, but I don't. And you know why I don't do that? A prop? A prop. This is a guy who grew up with divorced parents in a relatively poor household. He's a business owner. He is a proud, accomplished, dignified man. That the left and far-left liberals continue to do this and see him only for the melanin component of his skin speaks to the racism on the left, not on the right. People on the right, nobody I know in conservatism sent me a tweet, an email, or a Facebook message yesterday saying, hey, look, there's a black man on stage with Trump. They said there's a proud U.S. senator who cut your taxes. Every local 3 electrician, steel mill worker getting up tomorrow, you're going to get more money in your check next year because of men like Tim Scott. That the left sees the color of his skin speaks to the absolute intellectual vacuum these idiots live in. I don't accept this guy's apology.
Let me just read his apology, though, to you, because we all say stupid stuff, and we can all, we've all made mistakes. He did tweet this out. He said, at Senator Tim Scott, earlier I tweeted something that I now agree was unfair. Senator, I regret that tweet and apologize for it. There were many other ways I should have and could have made my point. So that was nice of him at least to apologize. I know. A lot of people agree with you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, it's a nice gesture to do it, but I'm pretty convinced it happened because of the backlash, not because the left sincerely believes that people should be judged by the quality of their character. They insist on doing this identity politics nonsense. It's garbage. I'm tired of it, and you should be too. Everyone else listening.
Yeah, Dan, because we've been talking so much about the tax cut bill yesterday, which also had the ANWR, it had the repeal of the individual mandate, kind of a triple play for the president. We haven't really touched on one of the other stories that we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, and that is, what's going on at the Department of Justice. And you know all about this, or the FBI. And a couple of days ago, you had Andy McCabe, the deputy FBI director, on the hot seat, and apparently had some lapses in what he could and couldn't remember. It does sound as if they're going to be issuing some subpoenas to get some of the people who have some of the answers, like Bruce Orr and also the general counsel James A. Baker, back up on Capitol Hill. Do you think, where do you see this going?
Well, Steve, there is one key critical question out there that still has not been answered. We cannot move on with the FBI until this question is answered. Who knew about the dossier, and was the fake news dossier, the nonsensical dossier, was it used to obtain warrants to spy on the Trump team? Nobody can answer this.
But that should be pretty easy to answer.
Steve, Andy McCabe knows about this. There are documents out there with his signature on it showing he has at least some information about it. Rod Rosenstein even said in a congressional hearing under oath he knows the answer but wasn't willing to share it. Folks, if you're an American citizen out there, don't you want to know if your government was spying on another American citizen due to political fake information supplied by Russian intelligence on a political candidate? Is this not a head scratcher? Are you not even a little bit concerned about this? You know what scares me most as a former federal agent? Big government. This should frighten the heck out of you. Well, nobody can move on till we get that answer.
We know this. It looks like Trey Gowdy and Chairman Goodlatte, who's going to be joining me on radio in about an hour, of Virginia, are going to offer subpoenas to bring them in, to make them come in and answer these questions. And hopefully it'll be on camera, not behind closed doors where you depend on
No, you know what they'll say? They'll say, we know the answer, but we're not at liberty to tell you, or I plead the fifth.
Yeah, the Inspector General is doing a report.
All right, thank you, Dan.
Yeah, you got it. Good to see you.